Well, hello all you beautiful peeps out there in the interwebs. This is Tashlan with Charlie the dog and Puddin' and Pie the pussycats, and today we're playing Prison Architect. Now, I'm actually doing the voice over on this after the fact because, silly me, I recorded the whole episode with no sound. So I do apologize for that. So here we are having a look at, we've got our cells that we're going to start building up. We did a few cloning of that the last time. We need to put in pipes. We're just waiting for them to put all of the equipment in. We're also thinking of doing a new wing, and we will probably get around to doing some planning for a library. So we're just coming in to see what sort of pipes and that might be needed, and you see a little prisoner getting popped in there, which is great. As the more prisoners we get, the more money we earn. So yes, having a good look there, and sort of waiting for a couple of cells there at the bottom so that I can copy them. And there we go into quick build, and a lot of working out how I wanted to actually copy them and make sure that I was copying the right side, because you know me, I always get it quite horribly wrong. And then I looked at that, thought, no, I don't need the back wall, I just need that bit. And I'm actually quite pleased with how I managed to work all of this out, because as you know, I'm very good at making a mess. And I didn't quite make a mess here, and there I decided I wasn't going to need the top wall, and Dopey clicked, and there we go, and we will pop this in, and we go up the entire row, plinkety plonkety blink. Come on. I'm being very, very careful when I'm doing this, because the amount of times that I've just put random stuff in everywhere, and it's a nightmare. So there we go, clickety clickety everything in. And we are trying to get to a prisoner capacity of 50, so this block should do it quite easily. I had a bit of a herp-derp moment when I was like thinking, oh, how do I do this bottom bit? Because where do I want the doors and that? I was like, no, don't be daft. You just copy that and in it goes. Simple. Sometimes my brain doesn't work too fast, but there we go. And then it's going to be doing the other side. And I had to have a little bit of a think about that, because I was trying to see, where do I need to put the walls, so to find out what I need to copy. And again, you know, sort of working out so that I copy all the right things, so I have the top bit and then the back wall as well, and I manage that. And then for the next bit, I realized that I sort of needed a bottom and a top, and I couldn't quite figure out how to do that because I wasn't sure. But what I did was, as you can see, I put the bottom bit there that I'd copied, or top bit, and then did it the other way around, and there was one piece where there was like a missing wall, and that wasn't really a problem because I just put the wall in, so it did work out quite nicely there. The cloning tool is very good. It's very helpful. And there you go, there I go, grab the concrete wall and just zip that in. And then I realized that there's absolutely no way of getting into this prison because it's just walls all the way around. I was like, might need to put in a door. So I grabbed myself a nice large jail door, rotate it round and zap it in. And it's like, phew, crisis averted. And then pretty much that was starting to look good. And all the flashing's a little bit annoying at this stage, but it does sort itself out as I'm start putting in the pipes and all that kind of thing. and I was having a quick squiz at the money, which is going down quite rapidly. But then we are doing quite a lot of building at the moment. So I also wanted to put in a jail door in this little top corridor here. You can see I've put it in there. Just because I realised that there's really no need to have prisoners in there. So if we can block that off with a jail door, we can make it access only. So then, you know, only workers or anything will go in there. I then decided to put in jail doors on the other side there, which would be fine, even though I'm going to make that other area access only. They can still, you know, go through. It's fine. I should have, looking at it now, I should have put an ordinary door, but yeah, no, I didn't. Such is life. And then, yeah, look at that rain. Wow. I like the weather. Just checking that everything's as it should be. And I had to keep checking this because it did mess up on me. So I was just having a quick look. Nothing had changed. Everything's looking good. All our accesses are fine. And I have a sudden urge for a nice drink of water, so just bear with me. Lovely. And I'm checking out where my patrols are. I seem to recall getting that quite organised. And then I was thinking about getting armed patrols, but looking at the sort of money that I've got there, I said I'm going to get armed patrols, but it will have to wait until we have a few more prisoners in before we can actually up when they're out of the cash flow. We need to get the cash flow up a little bit more before we can think about getting any more guards in there, because you know you have to pay their wages. And then I copy that, and we have our last bit of solitary, and they all flash up like that, but that's fine because you know it's flashing up because there's no walls. And well, yes, that's true. For now there are no walls, there's nothing in there, so that will sort itself out. And quite a lot to get going with. Yeah, I think they found a drill in one of the kitchens. Like, that's interesting. And now I'm sort of looking at getting why all these electrical appliances aren't working. So it's like filling in all those little cables. I nearly said pipes again. What am I like? Or putting all the cables in so that they all attach, getting everything. We didn't have enough power going through there. So quite a lot of little. Oh, there we go. There's the drill. I knew it came in there somewhere. It's like, why would you want a drill in the kitchen? I suppose putting up shelves or something. Give them benefit of the doubt there. And just trying to get where all the cables are. Trying to see why things are flashing at me, and just letting all these little workers work their little busy behinds off. They're like busy bees, busy bees. And checking where all the pipes are going. And then checking out the prisoners. Trying to see where they all are. And seeing where I don't know why I went to jobs there, seeing their needs. And this is where you can see like their comfort needs and their sleep needs are active and being fulfilled. Their hygiene needs are not looking so good, exercise not so good, and you can see the bladder and bowels sort of going up, and that's because they're sleeping, and that's perfectly fine. A lot of good things there. I mean, their recreation, environment, their warmth, so we're doing well there. There's a few things we're not doing so well on, and one of them is literacy, which is why I was thinking we sort of need to put in a library which will help to improve their literacy. And I think that was something we thought about last time, and it was like kind of, oh yeah, you know, we were going to build a library and we didn't. And just looking through all of our programs and still not really wanting to do either of those grants. they're all right, but they especially the inmate nutrition research, that one just, it makes the prisoners so unhappy. And I tried to start the foundation education program there. I click it a couple of times. It doesn't work. And I think that possibly what it means is that there's 3, then 8 interested. Then I think it's possibly that they are the sort of medium security, and they don't have a classroom. And see, this is where I pop up and I actually see it. So I decided, well, we're going to have to sort out the classroom. Then it's quite possible that we'll be able to do that. Then we can go for the grant where you get the general education certification. I think that's how they say it. So that was sort of looking forward that we could possibly go for that one. And then I thought, well, while all that building is going on there should be something that we can be doing, and that would be to plan for our library, which I thought would be nice just to put it sort of somewhere central here in the prison so that we can set it up so whichever security level they're at, they can access it. So I count out here for a path and just zap it on up to the top there of the staff room. Sort of wondering if they managed to spot that. There was like a little flash up there. There's a little tunnel. Is there a tunnel? Nope, nothing. There probably is. It's like, oh, I can't find it. These silly tunnels. Right. So then I have a look at the rooms to have a look and see what we need for a library, and it's minimum size 5 by 5, has to be indoors, needs a library shelf and a sorting desk. So then I go into objects and have a look to see what, and I type, look, I look for it by typing. I can do it. And find the library shelf just to see how big it is. And it's I think it's 3 by 1. Because I wanted to be able to plot out, because we know that the sorting desks, I think are they 4, or I think I thought it was 4. There might be 5 thinking about it, but I presumed them as being 4, and so I thought, well, that's fine. So what I do here, I go into the objects without planning and plan out. Yeah, you see, I did 4, and that's fine because as you can see, I've kind of spaced it out. So we've got room anyway. And then I put a couple of shelves. And I thought, oh, well, I can move that along there. So I've got plenty of room. If I have made a mistake and made that a bit smaller. So we're okay. I was going to make a big library. And then I sort of, I stop and I think about it. And I realized, no, what I need is maybe 3 smaller libraries so that I can actually designate them for the different categories of prisoner, I want to say, but for minimum and medium and high security. So that's where I decide to go with that. I'm scrabbling around for materials there. No, walls, there we go. Yeah, I decided to give it that extra little bit of space. And where do I go for my wall? Oh, this internal debate, it's terrible. And then what I do is put in like a nice door, because I think, well, we can have that as a corridor going through there. And then I kind of think, well, yes, yeah, we can close that off there, because obviously if we've got prisoners going through, we don't want them coming out. And I'm now going to count to see, how many blocks that is. As we can do this kind of planning and take our time with it, because we've given our workers quite a lot to be getting on with. So it's kind of nice and relaxing at this stage to the, well, okay, fine, no problem. We can do our planning and do that. And I was going to do that. Now this is where the debate comes in. Oh, do I do 4? Because it needs to be 10. And then it's 1 too high. But then what do I need a 4th room there for? No, I don't need that. So I get rid of it. And I think, oh, can I bring that corridor down? A big debate went on in my head here, because it doesn't quite work. So I thought, well, I'll take that across there, and we'll just get rid of that bit over there. And then I thought, well, that's a bit wonky. And I thought, no, I don't mind the wonk. And then I was like, actually, I do mind the wonk. So I looked at my design again and I thought, it's not a problem. It can be one shorter. It's still fine. It still works. So I went with that. It had to be a straight line. There was something in me that was just like, no, must have straight lines. I have enough wonky lines and weird stuff already going on in this prison. It was one wonky line too much, is all I can say. And then I just went and I put little L's in there to remind me that they're supposed to be libraries. I didn't need it in the bottom one because that's got our layout, but I thought that will just be a nice visual reminder to me what we're building there. I didn't start it building because we're building so much already. I didn't want them to sort of change their priorities. And here I am sort of looking at where are the pipes all going. You can see the hot water pipes are starting to go in. And so I'm trying to join everything up because it doesn't look like I joined up the hot water pipes, which was strange. I might have done. But yeah, you see, look, no hot water pipes. Like, what? So sort of put that in, and it's kind of a good exercise here, is trying to make sure that I connect all the hot water pipes to the right places. And yeah, it's one thing that I wish that it would do on this is, you know, if it would please, when you put something in, show it up a little bit more clearly. And yeah, we got one of our grants through, which was the cell block. So then I decided to go for the manufacturing facility, and then I also went for the crackdown on drugs, because that one's pretty easy. You run a couple of shakedowns depending on how long it takes, and then you've got that one. So that was quite, it's easy money as far as I'm concerned. Just shake them down, and it helps with the security of your prison anyway. It does make them a little bit unhappy because they get searched, but yeah, you know, it has to be sometimes. So then I go back to pipes. With having the hot water pipes and the cold water pipes and all of that, it does start to get very confusing. And it's like there's pipes and flashy things everywhere. And I'm like, did I connect this up? And oh my goodness. This must be actually what it must be like for real. You know, if you're building something like this, you know, you design it beautifully and it all goes in and goes, oh yeah, but now you need that. Okay, so you've got to dig things up and bung them in, and oh yeah. You start getting a healthy respect for architects and construction and civil engineering and all that kind of thing. It's quite a lot to think about. Oh, somebody's got some garden shears. Oh my goodness, these prisoners are naughty boys. So yeah, I'm trying to see that I've connected everything, and it is a little difficult sometimes to see where I've planned to put pipes and that. So that's why I tend to sort of react when I see them, and hopefully catch them all. If not, you know, I run around and just sort of patch it up later on. So this is pretty much what I'm doing now. I'm trying to see, because as you can see, some of the pipes are sort of coming in as they're doing it. And and I go and put in a hot water boiler, and I see there's one there. No, I didn't. I just bunged another one in. Yeah. Didn't do so good with the planning there, I have to admit. I didn't see the second one there, so that'll be something to dismantle in the next episode. Oh, so sweet. But this is what happens. I mean, when you do something and then I kind of leave it for a week. Even if I play the game, I don't play this, obviously. So there's usually a week in between each playthrough of this, and I tend to forget. And then that was interesting, where it actually wasn't being able to build there. And it was saying because it's too dangerous. It was because these prisoners here were kicking off. And I think you saw the tasers and everything going there. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then once they were subdued, then they could go in and do what they were going to do there. So that's the first time I've seen that. I mean, there's lots of times where I've seen it blocked and everything else. But that was actually the first time where I've seen them not being able to complete work because it was too dangerous. So that's quite cool. That was interesting. And I'm just putting in some more of that sort of metal flooring to make everything a little bit speedier. Oh, and here we go. Look at this. An event. We had an event. How cool is this? We got a water pipe that's burst and it's flooding the area. We have to fix it before the damage becomes too severe. I was so chuffed to bits because I didn't think that setting up events had worked because we haven't had one, but absolutely it's worked. So I have a bit of a herp derp here because I clicked to install it and it's control and left click to make high priority. And I was pretty sure that I'd put it as high priority. And so I went off and did my own thing and it was a long time. I noticed it still hadn't been done. I went back and there was no pipe there. So I must have accidentally sort of cancelled the job somehow. So that's just me. It's one of those things. And then, look, one pipe missing. Oh, what am I like? Oh dear, bung it in there. There we go. That one will work now. And you can see all the pipes sort of coming in. Oh, that flashing. It's quite nice that it sort of flashes. It's got the blue and then you've got the red, so you can sort of see what you still need to put in there. And they're working away. I wouldn't like to sort of get moved into a cell where they haven't even put your hot water in for you yet. Oh, can you imagine? Cold showers. Lovely. And there I am. Yeah, you see, I haven't noticed I've added a second water boiler in there. Oh dear. I'm trying very hard to sort of not put hot water pipes from one hot water boiler linking up to another one. I don't know if that crashes anything actually. I mean, I know if you link up your electricity you overload them, but I don't know if it works with the hot water. Maybe it might be that if you link them up that it works, so that might be something to experiment with. Just put two somewhere and run a test, see if the pipes work okay. Because if it does that, then that kind of takes a bit of a worry off, because then you can just link them all up and just know that they're kind of boosting each other, which would make sense to do it that way. But you never know with these things, do you? And then I throw in some more metal floor. Oh, somebody had a shiv there or something. And for some reason we're getting a minimum security guy brought through. That'll mean that it's changed all of my stuff again. And I think that this probably happened without me noticing, and then because I do end up with a bit of a problem where I've got too many minimum security prisoners. Let's say. But this is one thing that's a little bit annoying. Is like if you set an area. I mean, you saw that I'd even checked that I'd set the area to see what security level it was at, and as soon as you start putting in doors and that sort of thing, it totally resets what you've set it at. So I get a few more guards and then I check. It's like, yep, there you go. It's all my hard work's been undone. So I go in there and fix it all up, and then I think I managed to get the access only area as well, and that's fine because even though there's a door that goes into the visitation, because it's access only, they can walk through it. They just can't linger in it. And then I assign I hired a couple of armed guards and assign them to patrols. I also get another couple of dogs, and I hire some more dogs. So there's quite a lot of hiring, and there you can see it's actually flashing up 52 out of 54, and that there's prisoners that haven't got cells, and I think that's because it had turned all of those neutral, so it means anybody can come in, and a couple of prisoners snuck in on me somehow. And you see that, yeah, minimum security, I've got 23, but I've got capacity for 16. Fortunately, no, that doesn't make sense. Maths didn't work up in my head there. Oh. I'm not going to say anything. All right, I'm trying to figure out why I can't check that out. It's because I'm trying to hire a random guard. And there, you see, look, no pipe. Very strange. So then I put the pipe in again, do the control and left click, and then I watch it this time because I'm like, I want to see what's happening. I see I hover over there, it says install, and then come on, here he comes. There he goes. There's the little chappie with his little cardboard box. Comes running down there. I'm tracking him, like, where you going? Where you going, friend? There we go. There he goes. Fixes the pipe. Ta-da! Crisis over. And there we go. Beginning and end of our event. Oh, and now it's chucking it down with rain. And our new wing is starting to really take shape there. I'm looking now at sort of getting this CCTV sorted. So, because I try to put those in, you know, once everything's installed, I only put them in afterwards, because I think I've said this before, is like, they get manned whether they're connected or not. So you can't just say, oh, well, you know, my prison's going to end up needing 30 of these and put them all in, because you will then need 30 guards for it. So you have to be very aware that once you've installed those, that they're going to be manned, so you have to have the manpower for them. It's just, I suppose it makes sense, but I'd like a sort of function where you could click on it and just go unman this station, or, you know, don't use this station for now. But yeah, so I'm just checking up, making sure that we've got our 8 connections. And this is where it's like, you know, connect one, go back, connect another one. And I think I'll wise up and actually zoom out. Thinking, oh, this is, you know, scrolling up and down and up and down. And yeah, there we go. I find the scroll out button. I get there in the end, guys. I know, it's like slow and steady. And there we go, connecting up our 8. And I have to keep count, otherwise I forget. And there we go, and those ones are in. So I go to that one and start connecting up all of these CCTV. And it's quite nice that, I think because last time I put them all in the wrong way around, so it's quite kind of nice that once I got them all connected, that they were all facing the right way and they were all working. It's like, oh yes, sometimes I can get it right. Oh dear. Yes, zoom out a bit more. Why don't you? And it's clickety clickety click, clickety clickety click. Here we go. More clicketing, connecting them all up. And I think I actually did quite well in that there's only one that you'll see that's still flashing. And I did connect that up to one that was already fully connected. And you can do that. But you have to then realize that what they will do is they will flash through it. So they only look at 8 at a time. So you could have 16 connected, but then they will look at 8 and then they'll look at another 8. They'd sort of cycle through it. So I just decided to I'm going to add a whole new station just for one. So I just thought, well, that's okay. They can sort of flitz through that. It's only the one. And it is covering an area that's already covered by cameras. So it's not vital that it's watched all the time. And you can see how the cameras actually help with the coverage. I do find it a little odd that the cameras can see through walls. But I kind of like it because it means that when I first started doing it, you kind of sort of think, oh, well, I have to put a camera everywhere because... and then you realise, well, no, you don't. You can be a bit strategic because cameras can actually see through walls, apparently. So, I don't know, maybe the walls aren't very high and they're just seen over the top of them. I don't know. It's just one of those things. And now here I am back with pipes because I think I can see where everything is. I'm trying to, sort of keep that separate, sort of going with the whole thing. If you cross your wires, it's all going to go horribly wrong for you. Oh dear, get all those hot water pipes in. We don't want our prisoners freezing. They might be more compliant if they were cold. No, probably not. So, what's next? I think I start doing the classroom. Yep, looking for an office desk, which needs to go into the classroom. And then it's an office chair. And it took me a long while to learn how to delete. Oh dear. And what's nice, I put chair and school desk came up as well. So I was like, oh, sweet. Sometimes it works out nicely. And then, of course, where I've placed the camera is really bad. And I realized that, yes, that's a really bad place to have that camera. So I just put a desk squished up. And then, for some reason, decide to squish that one. And then go, no, I don't need to squish that one. And I didn't even notice that the one desk didn't go in by the radiator. That's fine. That's fine. I might actually, looking at it, might just put in another row of desks because they seem to work out all right like that. And then putting in some ceramic tiles, and it's down to now doing the workshop. So I'm just checking what I need, and it's the saw, the press, and I also decide to put in a carpenter's bench. Or table, is it? Carpenter's table, yes. So I'll get the workshop press in there, and I'm putting them to one side quite deliberately because I want to put the work tables next to them because I think that sort of helps with the workflow. I don't know, I'm guessing, but I think that because usually the stuff gets put on the tables, so I think that kind of helps with the workflow. So that's those all ready and raring to go, and that's me having a quick run through. There's still loads of building to do. And then I noticed that we've got a problem with the prisoners. We've got 22 in minimum and only a capacity for 16. So we had 6 prisoners there, unable to be assigned to a cell. So the solution that I decided to go for with that, I first thought, is it because they're in solitary? Now, what would be nice would be to actually be able to click on prisoners from this screen. Because I was looking, there's a couple there that I thought, well, they've already been in trouble, might as well bump them up. But you can't actually click on them through that notepad type thing, which would be a nice little addition if you could do that. So I was like, oh, well, that's not working. Let's see if I can find the prisoners. And then I happened to find, it was quite random to be honest, and just bumping them up so that they would at least have a cell. And I was looking for the ones that have been in trouble the most recently, because I kind of thought that they get the troubles bumped up. Troubles? The troubles. Let's call them the troubles. Get the troublemakers bumped up. And then they all obligingly went into the kitchen, which was nice. And then they all went to bed. And when they were in bed, I couldn't click on them, which was a tad frustrating. And I saw them here all working as well, and I thought, well, if they're working, they're behaving themselves. So it was a bit difficult trying to find my my prisoners to bump up. So that was quite a lot of fun. And they go back into the dining room, trying to see if I can grab some more of those prisoners. And I was looking, what I was looking for is days without incident. And like he has like 1 day without incident. So it's like, that basically means he's been naughty quite recently. So I thought, well, he's a good one to bump up. And I thought if it's like, say, 3 days without incident or whatever else, then they don't really deserve being bumped up. But if they've been naughty recently, and you can see that the figure is changing as I'm doing that. So I'm just trying to find, see there's a 2 days, there's a 1 day without incident. I click on him and bump him up to normal. Now we need to find 2 more, and then of course they all run off to bed and I'm like, no, and I can't click on them. It's like, oh dear. It's all a terrible mess. I have to wait for them to wake up. And then he was one that wasn't assigned. And I was like, okay, well, you haven't got a prisoner. So, a cell. So, yes, I just bumped them up. Angry German. That's so funny. So funny. It's so nice that the players have been able to name their own prisoners, because what people come up with is, it's so good. And there we go. That's sorted out that problem, because they can sort of shimmy over to the other side and get assigned some cells. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but it was a way that worked for me. And now look, it's snowing, -2 degrees. Wow, 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 wow. And yes, we got the crackdown on drugs there. I noticed we only got it at 80%. So I thought, well, that's all right. We'll run another quick shake. Oh, we found a baton. Oh, dear me. So we're waiting to get all of that. And yes, that's where I notice I have an extra water boiler, so I actually dismantle it. And that's fine, because we are going to be building more wings. So if I put in extra and they need dismantling, it's fine. It means we've got it in stock. We've spent the money already, but it's in stock and we can use it later on. So it's easy fix. And then, oh look, the workbenches that have gone in, they'll need electrical cables, and I don't think I noticed it. Not yet. I will eventually. And going into grants, and because I've noticed that we've got the drugs one, I did the tool one, and it like insta found it. I was like, okay, nice, instant money. And that's when I decided, okay, we'll go for the Reform Through Education initiative, because we will have the classroom. We're working on the classroom, and hopefully we'll be able to get, it's one of the slow runners, because you might have 8 interested and so on. But if we have it running, it'll be ticking along in the background while we're doing other things. And we are definitely sort of keeping our prison, we're trying to keep it running in a profit now, so we're not as reliant on grants as we used to be. And we're now coming to the end, and thank you for sharing this time with me. And I'm so sorry that it was all a big confusing mess, as always with me. But I've been Tashlan, and I've had Charlie the dog and Puddin' and Pie the pussycats. And we love you loads. Peace out, peeps.